Guys, take a few moments and check out this GoFundMe. This is a veteran that's in need. He needs some desperate help. We're entering the winter months, and sadly, he has no heat for his home. Do me a favor. Go to GoFundMe.com. Click on KS Veteran in Need. Help him out if you can, and if nothing else, please share the video. Thank you.
Ronald Reagan was 2 months into his presidency when John Hinckley Jr. drew a $29 handgun outside the Washington Hilton Hotel on March 30th, 1981.
Hinckleys. Who are they? What purpose did they serve? Who are they a part of? Who are they connected to? What happened in March of 1981? I think it's time people need to connect the dots. It says here, John Hinckley Sr. was deeply involved with World Vision, a non-profit humanitarian organization that receives heavy funding from a USAID, the government organ that had historically been closely associated with the CIA, who was close with the head of World Vision Ministries, a former State Department official who worked, among other things, as an advisor in Vietnam. Interesting lone nut who changed the global landscape, Mark David Chapman, a guy who was shot and killed John Lennon, had been an employee of World Vision. Down the road, we're going to do a video about Mark David Chapman. But right now, my main focus right now is with John Hinckley Sr. Folks, is Joanne Hinckley and John Hinckley Sr. How they connected all this. You remember this guy? John Hinckley Jr.? Oh yeah, he did this in 1981. Remember this? The Reagan assassination? Remember that? Sometimes it takes a reminder or two to people realize what the hell's really going on. Hinckley Sr.'s the key. How is he the key? Was this young man about to become history in a negative light? Think about this for a moment. This picture was taken right by the Ford Theater, site where Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. Would it really bother you folks that the Hinckley was not only a major donor to Bush's presidential campaign in 1980, but the Hinckley's and the Bushes were close friends. See, the night after the assassination involving this young man here, Hinckley's brother Scott and his wife were due to have dinner with who? Neil Bush, Vice President's son, later that evening. See, World Vision at that point in time was ran by John Hinckley Sr. It was CIA sponsored. Now, I'm not going to go into the details how this may involve human trafficking, because look at the site itself. Supposed non-profit organization, get 1,000 girls sponsored. That's kind of weird. Why would you sponsor children? That in itself is a little suspicious. That's a whole nother story. See, Hinckley Sr. and Bush had a common credo. They didn't want Reagan to do away with the tax cuts that would have benefited the oil companies. See, that would have set the stage for what would happen down the road. They get the tax cuts while they jack the price up through different conflicts and everything else. Believe me, in later videos, I will talk to you about how all these little things that happened early on would eventually catch up, and it connects to everything in the past. You're going to see a lot of videos I'm about to put out involving Bush's past and how it's all making sense now and how it all connects. The short version right now is it's as it stands. Between this man's affiliation with World Vision, a non-profit, and CIA connections, and freaking Bush, they got together and said, hey, we don't want Reagan to be the nominee. They didn't want Reagan. And when his popularity soared like crazy, that was a problem to them. In fact, during the GOP debates, Reagan actually stomped Bush in the freaking debates and eventually became the nominee. That was a problem to both Hinckley Sr. and George H.W. Bush.
So Bush knew he had to do something. And the ultimate solution, get into his ranks, be his vice presidential running mate. Believe me, the Republican Party pushed it on him. He succeeded. He knew if he didn't do something about Reagan now, everything they worked for to achieve was going to be nullified by this man. So everything was put in place. The stage was set. Put the players in place just so they could push their narrative. In future videos, we're going to talk about the Bush Mafia, as what I like to call it. and how they had a hand in a lot of things from the late 50s all the way until Donald Trump. I'm telling you now, folks, Bush was deep into a lot of things that took advantage of the American people, a lot of things that took away the things that were helping us. Please share the video.